So yesterday I was doing a Q&A on my IG story and a lot of people had questions related to consent. And two of them that stood out was one asking if I could prove consent is sexy, and then also one talking about what does asking for consent look like in realistic situations. For the record, I have already made videos about consent. In fact, if you Google consent in my name, you just get a bunch of stuff about consent, which is pretty fucking cool. You can just Google my name and a random topic, and then the videos about it will just pop. That's dope. Like, obviously, for you guys, you're like, well, yeah, that makes sense. But think about it from my perspective. To me, that's like, wow, that's wild. Now, obviously, you can't prove that something is sexy because sexy is an opinion. However, the first time that I expressly asked a woman if I could touch her, she responded very favorably. And once I discovered that asking before I make certain moves didn't change the answer of the moves, I just started asking. On dates, I ask for kisses. Can I have a kiss? Can I kiss you? It didn't change the answer. If she wanted to say yes, she just says yes. If she wanted to say no, she'll say no. And when someone says no, that just means it was a really good idea that you asked first. Because otherwise, you've got this situation where you just went for it and she didn't want you to. And that's a huge portion of the reason why I ask for consent before I do things. Because I don't want to be in a situation where I did something and they didn't want me to. When I was growing up, there was a lot of instances of guys getting quote unquote mixed signals and not really understanding if she wanted it or not. So they just went for it. And sometimes the woman would come back later and be like, oh, he assaulted me and stuff like that. And it's because he fucking went for it and didn't ask if she wanted it or not. And it turned out that she didn't. And I wouldn't want to do that to somebody. And I would hope that you wouldn't either. So consent is sexy is like a fun phrase to kind of normalize the idea of asking for consent. But in reality, a lot of women do actually get more turned on when you ask them for consent. For example, one of my friends DM'd me this earlier. But to be honest, I don't actually give a shit whether or not consent is sexy. Like, I don't care about the sexiness. I'm not asking for consent to be sexy. It is important to me that my partners know that I respect them, that I respect their body, that I respect them as a person, that they are in a safe enough space where if they don't want to give consent, I will respect that as well. It is important that they know that I respect them because I might be about to do or say some shit that in any other context is extremely disrespectful. So asking for consent first enables that communication. It removes the doubt. It makes it so that the space is fun and enjoyable for both of you. And that's the important part, right? That it's fun and enjoyable for both of you. So if you're worried about whether or not you're going to kill the vibe by asking for consent, you're not. And if you don't want to ask consent because you're worried she might say no, that's even more of a reason to ask. If you're worried she might say no, that means don't proceed. You definitely should ask in that case. Hope this helps somebody. I will see you in the next video.